Luis Miranda Jr. is a longtime political activist in New York. He's also the father of Lin-Manuel Miranda, the creator of the Broadway hit Hamilton. Luis Miranda Jr. has a new book out. It's titled Relentless, and it looks at his decades of political involvement, especially when it comes to the Latino vote. Luis, thank you for joining us on Arizona Horizon. It's good to have you here. You were just in Phoenix not too long ago. What'd you think of our town?
I love your town. Remember, I am from Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico tends to be quite hot. So you gave me a taste of Puerto Rico in Phoenix.
There we go. There we go. Hey, personal political memoir, Relentless. Let's talk about the book. Why did you write this?
Many people were telling me that I kept criticizing the many columns and write-ups that I read about the Latino vote and how the Latino vote was behaving or was going to behave, people who I had never heard of. So people say, don't complain, act. You have been in this field for 45 years. Why don't you put down what you have seen in those 45 years of working in the Latino political space? And as I did that, more and more my family historically has been part of everything that I've done. So they became a protagonist of the book. And the book ended up being a mix of politics and biography.
Yes, yes, and memoir. He came to 1974, came to the U.S. to study psychology, but what drew you to community action?
I had always been involved in community action in Puerto Rico. I come from a small town called Vega Alta. My parents were very much involved in the civic fiber of our little town. Politically, we were very active politically as a family in Puerto Rico. So even though I wanted to study psychology and came to New York to do a PhD in clinical psychology, that never meant that I was not going to be involved in activism. But what ended up happening is that I realized that I was not going to be a very good psychologist because I wanted my patients to move and resolve their issues faster than they could.
Yes.
And my professors kept telling me, in the therapeutic relationship, clients go at their own pace,
yes,
not at your pace.
Yes.
I wanted them to go at my pace.
Yes.
So I left the profession.
You wanted to get things done, and you got things done. The book's top subtitle is My Story of a Latino Spirit That's Transforming America. And you referred to this earlier. What about Latino culture and politics needs to be better understood?
I have seen in the 50 years that I have been in the United States, and I talk about in Relentless, how politics in our country have been defined by the African American community and whites. And the political paradigm, it's a black and white political paradigm. And we don't fit in any of those. We are now 65 million people who come from many countries. 2/3 of us, like my kids, have been born and raised here. Generationally, we're different. Our countries are politically at a different space. The Venezuelans that are coming now versus those who came earlier are politically different. The Puerto Ricans who came after Maria to Florida, or those of us who came to New York in the 50s, 60s, are different. So to understand us politically, which is what I talked about in Relentless, you need to understand all of those variables that form our political reality. Then we could act, we can convince them, we could tell them, vote this way or that way, but we need to understand where they're at.
Is that what explains what we're seeing time and time again now from surveys, that Latinos, especially men, Hispanic men, are moving away from Joe Biden, President Biden, and toward Donald Trump. What do you make of this? What's going on here?
Uh, because first of all, most of the polls that are done, we are 8 or 9%. So many, which is what I read and why I wrote the book, many who are saying that that's happening are using faulty data. In the only all Latino poll that has been done in the country, what we see is that support for Biden has fallen from 66 to 49%, but support for Trump, it's the same. We are becoming more persuadable. You need to tell us, why should we vote for Biden? Because we're not saying that we're voting for Trump. Keep in mind, 25 to 33% of Latinos, election after election, have voted for the Republican Party. So I want whites to vote at that percentage for the Democratic Party. But that's our reality. It's a different political reality that we need to understand, particularly now that we are such a large portion of the electorate.
And certainly here in Arizona. And Luis, I can't let you go now without talking about your kid, Lin-Manuel. I mean, you got a rock star there in the family. Did you see a rock star developing? Did you? How surprised, or are you surprised at all that all the success?
No, we're always surprised about the success. We're always surprised that after In the Heights came Hamilton, after Hamilton came Encanto, now comes Mufasa. There's always a new creation that this very talented kid is involved in. But we always knew that this was his path. My wife and I tell the story all the time of watching him in one of those Christmas specials. They always bring a chorus to Rockefeller Plaza, and they brought the chorus from his school. And we could see our kid, who is not a chorus material at all. He was flapping his arms, he's flapping his arms, and he's singing with enthusiasm. We knew that this was his path.
Yes, and his path has been very successful, and you have been very successful. You lived quite a continued success on everything that you're doing here, the book, and just raising a great philanthropic work. We never even got into that. I know it's big for you as well. But just thank you so much for making time for us. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.